Count this into the baking tray. When you go. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Stephen. Today we are going to be making vegan banana bread as part of the Fyffes Great Banana Bread Bakeoff. I've set my oven to 180 degrees Celsius. As you can see, I'm starting out with 2 Fyffes bananas. Ideally you want the bananas to be a little overripe as they are easier to mash and slightly more aromatic. But I have a serious banana eating problem, so it's rare that my bananas ever get to the overripe stage. As you can see here, I open the bananas from the bottom. This is seen by many as being a controversial choice, and I mean no offense by it. Please let me know your banana opening preferences in the comment box down below. This recipe requires a bowl, a baking dish, and a strong stirring arm. There really isn't that much more to it than mashing all the ingredients together and firing it in the oven. But despite its simplicity, this banana bread has a complex taste. It's sophisticated, bold, and provokes thought. It has a certain je ne sais quoi about it. This is the George Clooney of banana bread. Anyway, once I've finished mashing my bananas, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Some recipes recommend white sugar or golden syrup, but I feel that we cannot make the George Clooney of banana bread without the deep, caramelly, toffee-like flavour of real brown sugar. At this point, the more astute of you may have realised that even though I'm making this video by myself, there is a third hand appearing in shot. Although I only have 2 hands, if I had another hand, I would in theory be able to make 50% more banana bread. My third hand is now adding the aquafaba. Aquafaba is a less disgusting way of saying the juice from a tin of chickpeas, and it bonds the rest of the ingredients together in the same way that George Clooney bonds the team together in Ocean's 11. We now add 2 generous tablespoons of smooth, oil-free peanut butter. You'll also notice that I've used the magic of film to conjure up a cup of wholemeal flour onto my ingredients board. Now before we add this flour, we actually have to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. In case you were wondering, this will make the banana bread more vanilla-y. After a quick whiz, we can then add our wholemeal flour. As I said earlier, in order to make this banana bread, a strong stirring arm is required. Although I'm making it look effortless, I can assure you that my weak post-lockdown body struggled with this level of cardio, and special effects were used generously in this scene. After getting the mix nice and homogeneous, it's time to add half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of baking powder. This will help the mix rise in the oven, much like how George Clooney rises to the challenge of playing a high-class fixer in the 2007 American legal thriller Michael Clayton. We then add a pinch of salt, because all of the other banana bread recipes online had it. After some further stirring, the time has finally arrived to add the fun ingredients. First, I'm going to add half a cup of vegan dark chocolate. I cut it into uneven chunks in order to maintain the element of surprise. When eating this banana bread, you'll never know whether your slice contains a mere chocolate chip or a vast and decadent dark chocolate oasis. Following this, I'm adding half a cup of fresh blueberries. I'm going to mix them in slowly in order to maintain the integrity of the blueberry. This level of caution is reminiscent of the level of caution shown by George Clooney in the 1999 movie Batman and Robin, where he has to conceal his secret identity from the people of Gotham City. Now that we have our mixture, we are going to scoop it out into a baking dish that has been lined with greaseproof paper. I'd like to think that we are at the ugly duckling stage of the recipe here. This mixture is on the cusp of transforming into a beautiful, majestic banana loaf that is welcome at any party. We also want to smooth out the top so your banana bread will look as good as George Clooney as he sips his Nespresso and stares out into the distance. Following this smoothing, it's going to go into the oven for 40 minutes, but we'll be checking on it after 30. After 30 minutes, we're going to remove the banana bread from the oven and gently sprinkle some walnuts on top. In retrospect, I probably should have done this earlier, as the top of the bread is pretty much set. I'd like to add that I don't usually do this, and I tried to incorporate it because I thought it would look fancy. After all, this is a competition. This is going back in the oven now for 10 minutes. Finally, there we have it. Super easy to make, vegan banana bread. It looks great, it's nice and moist in the middle, and it's relatively healthy, just like George Clooney. I'm going to give you guys a close-up now. So you can see one of these dark chocolate oases I was talking about. It might be a blueberry, I'm not actually quite sure, but it's super tasty.